is being played. But sadly, the injury gods are coming from someone who really had one of the more impressive debuts. Vikings rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy is undergoing knee surgery. Now, as is the case when any sort of injury news breaks, we get this steady stream of like 10 slightly altered tweets from all the NFL insiders and stuff. So initially it was, knee surgery. Oh my God, that doesn't sound good. But essentially, he's getting his meniscus looked at. And as they're going to go in, the doctor is going to determine whether it's going to be a trim or a complete repair. Now, Dr. Edwin Porras from Fantasy Points has noted that if it is just going to be a trim of the meniscus, that's an injury with a timeline of roughly 6 weeks. He comped it to what Zach Wilson went through during the 2022 season. Now, they determine as a complete repair, that could be the season ender, and Rapture confirmed. Now we're looking at months if that is going to be the case. So, Pete, already we're expecting, Sam Darnold to be the starting quarterback for at least the first bit of the season. Now it's looking like that could be a bit longer. Knock on wood, as we always want to see, again, our young rookie quarterbacks and any NFL player for that matter be healthy. So we'll see what the final news is. But for now, Pete, it's looking like Sam Darnold's going to be QB1 in Minnesota. How does that make you feel in Fantasyland?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it seemed like Sam Darnold had that job on lockdown as is. All of the early reports out of camp were that McCarthy was really far behind, which is why I thought his preseason debut was notable. I wrote that in the newsletter on Monday. Dwayne had some awesome utilization nuggets. He actually really impressed. And I think it was kind of a vote of confidence for the entire offense that the weapons are here. Kevin O'Connell is in his bag as a play caller. And it gives me confidence that kind of no matter what happens at quarterback, I think we're going to get enough there to support the options that we want to be supported. Our Justin Jefferson's, Hawk when he returns, Addison if he doesn't get suspended, the running game. So for me, this is a bummer for J.J. McCarthy specifically, probably delays when we get to see him. But overall, I'm not too concerned. I think Sam Darnold can be good for this offense, and I think he can get the guys we care about fantasy points.
I mean, after Kirk Cousins went down last year, we saw a combination of Joshua Dobbs, Nick Mullins, and Jaron Hall combined to average 16.2 fantasy points per game, which isn't this world-beating number. But hey, you add Darnold in. To his credit, yeah, I'm doing a bit of the take away all the bad games he's played and focus on this small sample size recently thing, but he has been 11th in EPA per play over these past 2 seasons. Now, only one of those 7 starts included pass attempts higher than 26, so I think there's a reason why the teams he's been on, Panthers and then last year the 49ers, not exactly running, this high-octane passing attack when Darnold has been forced under center, but obviously has a great arm, went number 3 overall back in the day for a reason, and as Pete mentioned, did flash in that preseason game, one of the best throws of the entire week with that layered intermediate dart to Jalen Naylor, I believe it was. And yeah, at a minimum, guys, maybe Kevin O'Connell and these weapons can help drag him along. So Kevin O'Connell, shout out Stephen Patton, 7th ranked play caller at the end of last year. And again, got a lot out of, pretty little at the quarterback position. So Pete, again, we love Justin Jefferson. Even the quote unquote faders are ranking him as the wide receiver 5 overall. But with Darnold, I mean, do you think there's something to be said for taking him around guys like Baker Mayfield, like Aaron Rodgers? Because as much as they might be better real life talents, Darnold averaged 17 rushing yards per game in each of his 3 full seasons as a starter. And, as much as I say he's around those guys, ADP is probably going to continue to be, in the low range. I'd imagine around 15 plus and more drafts than not. He's not even going to be drafted in most, one quarterback redraft leagues. But how do you feel about, again, throwing that late capital LATE around Darnold right now?
Yeah, like you said, I think in a standard redraft league where, guys like Darnold are going to be on the waiver to pick up, I want to take like a big swing. I'd even like take Daniel Jones and just be like, hey, if he's running a little bit, if Neighbors supercharges this offense, I can see the path to upside. I think what you're getting from Darnold is a pretty good floor, right? We saw Nick Mullins have 3 straight games of 20 plus points in this offense last year when they were trying to find their next quarterback, which, by the way, circling back to Justin Jefferson, he was on a 2,000 yard pace with Nick Mullins coming back from his injury. So again, I'm not worried about the quarterback play, but yeah, I think, if I do a lot of best ball teams, and right now the whole thing you don't want to draft a guy who you don't think is going to play the whole year. Like, I don't touch the Raiders quarterbacks. I don't know. Is it going to be Gardner Minshew, AOC? Now that it seems like Sam Darnold, like if we had to set the line, I mean, what is it at? Like over under 14 weeks or something? Like, I think we're going to see a lot of Darnold. So in best ball formats, I actually am a little bit open to taking him as a last round pick. Stack him up with Justin Jefferson. If you have that stack with those Minnesota players, I think he's on the menu.
Again, before Giants, 49ers, Texans, Packers, Jets bye to start the season, I would have thought we would have been seeing McCarthy in week 7. But now, if he's not even really going to be healthy until the latter end of that stretch, it is looking like we're going to see Darnold for the majority of games here. So, again, don't need to be drafting this guy. I mean, seriously, I had a draft with Jake Seeley in the flex crew a couple weekends ago. I got Anthony Richardson as my quarterback, early-ish or in the middle rounds. And then I was able to get Tua in round 16, last round of the draft, in a 14-team league. So when you
Yeah.
do only need one quarterback, guys like Darnold, again, not going to be touching him. But super flex, especially, you find yourself taking one quarterback in the first couple rounds. Darnold is joining guys like Daniel Jones as those prime late-ish round options to close out the position. So with that,